Let's talk about change management. I see so many emotional and energetic mistakes around change management, and seeing that we're living in such a change management world, a world of great change, I think we need to talk about it. Here's what I see as the sort of umbrella mistake that we make as soon as we are bumping into needing to change. Needless to say, the world is changing really fast, and we need to change as leaders, companies, whatever it is we're doing, offers, services. We need to be able to change the way that we work really quickly nowadays. What we react with when we are getting the energy of change against us is that we react with wanting stability. Something is changing and it's fast and we want stability. And that makes sense, right? The problem is when we are reacting with wanting things to be stable at a time and a reality when things are changing fast, is really to react with a way of being stuck in the past. And the more we're stuck in the past now, the quicker we're going to become irrelevant to the marketplace. And we're going to be irrelevant as leaders as well. So I wanted to remind everyone that there is another option within emotionally when we have this uncomfortable change that's required of us. We can react with resilience instead. And there's a big difference between resilience and stability. And what I love about this reminder of resilience is that we can adapt a few behaviors within resilience that is going to help us with change management instead of working against it. So we're stepping out of the push and pull and the tug of war going on between, I want things to change, but I really don't want things to change. They have to change, but I really don't want to change. And instead, we're inviting a few things, and they're quite surprising when it comes to resilience. So let's walk through a few of these surprising aspects of being resilient that I'm hoping will be very helpful for you in your leadership journey and in your business journey. And let's start with one of the more popular traps that we do as soon as we have too much to do and too many things are changing, is that we think that we need to start managing our time. So we get very focused on time management, and we want to control our teams, and they need to time manage, and they need to report back on their time to us. And I would like for you to completely throw that out and instead put on the first slot, you need attention management. And the reason I say this is that when we look at how focused people are at work, we have almost 50% of the time that tasks are performed on autopilot. In other words, in an unaware state, we're not being focused on the actual task that we're doing. So if we can train our minds to be much more attention focused, then we're going to be ahead of the curve because we can manage our attention, and we can put our attention, we can put our focus in the right place. What we do when things are changing really fast is that we pay attention to the wrong thing. We start paying attention to our competitors. We start thinking, if they're going to do this, then at least we can be second in the market. And now they're doing that, so I'm really stressed out. How come they're doing so well and we're not doing well? And we get into this grit mode that is not going to be beneficial for us. Learn to manage your attention. It's one of the big pillars in mindfulness intelligence, and I see every day with my clients and my companies that I work with that when they make that switch from being so focused on time management and instead being focused on attention management and learning the tools how to actually implement that, huge things happen for them. And suddenly they can focus on what really matters to them, which is to look at their business plan, look at their offerings, and look at what they need to improve and where they need to go in order to make their business better, not other people's business. They're staying in their boat. So that's one surprising aspect of resilience. You need attention management. And actually, another big aspect of resilience is to be courageous. You actually need a big scoop of courage to be resilient. You don't when you are focusing on being stable. So if you remind yourself to be resilient and you remind yourself that within being resilient, you actually need to be courageous. Courage is bravery of the heart. So you know why you're here, and then you're being brave to take the steps required in order to make things happen that resonates with what's in your heart. And I know that heart might not be a big topic in business, but the truth of the matter is, if you're going to be powerful, you're going to have to understand not only where your heart is, but also where your customers' heart are at. And so that's why courage is a huge trait for being resilient. And when you start connecting with what makes people tick, what makes their hearts tick, what makes them engage, what makes their lives better, all of a sudden you can also be invited to connect with something even deeper, something even bigger. And this is also an important aspect of resilience, is to be connected to something that is bigger than yourself. It's a bigger meaning. There is a big why as to why you're here. There's a big who showing up, and that is what we learn in mindfulness intelligence, is the big who and the big why. We need to have those components. And I see that this is a lot easier for people who are open to being of faith, not necessarily religious, not necessarily coining themselves as spiritual, but definitely people who can see a bigger picture, a bigger reason, and who is not afraid to find their purpose and their meaning. And when we tap into this source of creation, that's why quantum mechanics is a big part of mindfulness intelligence, because there is a scientific way of looking at that which actually creates our reality without being religious. And it helps you in being resilient. That is how you know that there's a bigger reason for you to show up. That makes you resilient. Not stable necessarily. You'll be emotionally stable, but your attitude as you show up and as you quote unquote react to change, hopefully it's more of a proactive way of approaching life. But even in times when you do react and you react with resilience instead, you're going to be way ahead of most other people. And I would actually like to add one more point to resilience that is an important and surprising ingredient, and that is to have a sense of humor about it all. You need to have this playful and creative aspect of you to come to the forefront when you're being resilient. It doesn't mean that you're just goofing around and not doing the hard work. It just means that you have access to a part in yourself that doesn't take yourself too seriously, doesn't take all those plans that you made before too seriously either. As such, you can look at the things that have been going on so far. Maybe you've built your whole company with one product and it's 95% of your revenue. Well, how about we be a little playful? How about we have a sense of humor about everything that we thought we were and reinvent ourselves? We can't be innovative, not even in inventing ourselves, if we don't have a sense of playfulness. That is an important ingredient under the umbrella of being resilient. So I hope all of that helps and that you're going to be able to meet your change that's coming your way with these points in a much, much better way.